Ezra Levant here at the ostrich farm, just hours after hundreds of the birds were massacred. I didn't arrive till this morning, but my friend Chris Dacey, who has done an outstanding job as a citizen journalist, was here during the worst moments. Chris, nice to see you in person.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again. I think last time was in Ottawa at the courthouse, probably.
Yeah, you are one of Canada's leading citizen journalists, especially on the street. And I think that was probably really good training, so to speak, for what's happened here. Tell me about life here for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been, I think, over a month now. It's hard to tell, really. Like, it's been up and down, and it's even with all the crazy things that I cover, you know, in Ottawa and protests and giant. Well, you guys have seen them probably. This was an experience that I was not really prepared for. I don't think it's unique.
You're a citizen journalist. You're a member of the Independent Press Gallery. So is my colleague, Drea Humphrey, and she's been here for a while. You brought some new tools with you, didn't you? You brought necessary equipment. Tell me about some of the tactics you used to get information that no one had seen before.
Yeah, so as we were coming out here, a friend of mine reached out to us, Dave Freedom, thank you very much. Dave Freedom, that's actually his last name. He had it legally changed to Freedom, so they have to call him that in court. He lent us a Nikon P1000. So it's a very high-end camera with a 125 times optical zoom.
Wow.
Then I also brought my good friend here, Mike Rood, airborne veteran, and he's got some skills with mountains and other planning, and between that camera and Mike and me, we were able to get some incredible footage that really put some pressure. And like as soon as we got here and put out that first set of footage, things kind of changed. The approach from the RCMP, they started getting frustrated, things were getting exposed. You know, nothing is transparent here, as you've seen, and this just added layers to that.
You know, normally police try and, serve and protect, right? Serve.
Yes.
And they're always talking about transparency. This entire operation has been the opposite, from having a no-fly zone overhead to anti-drone devices to doing the final massacre in the dark. They really have, and even just building this sort of walls of huge haystacks to hide people seeing it. It's so un-Canadian for police to spend so much money blocking people from seeing what they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, there's already, if you look behind here, everything about this is quite dystopian. We should be in what's paradise, right? You look around over here, look, I'm in paradise. Then you look a layer behind and you see this. And the secrecy, the privacy fencing, all these things, they just lead to paranoia. They breed paranoia. They get people worked up. And, they haven't provided counts of the number of ostriches. We know 100% that Spirit the ostrich was killed here under the, quote, care of the CFIA. And they completely misrepresented that story.
That was the bird that the police droned, spooked the bird. The bird got injured, and they put the bird down.
Yes.
And the media implied that was a death by avian flu.
Yeah, so they implied it was a sick bird. The bird was under special care. So there's an area just behind here where birds that need a little extra care, so say they hurt their toe or they have arthritis, they'd be looked after there. So they implied that this was a sick bird, which people will assume means avian flu, when in fact it was a perfectly fine bird that just needed a bit of care. And then it was spooked by low-flying RCMP drones. Not once, but twice. It was severely injured. Then, while the CFIA had already taken control, then it wasn't cared for properly and ended up dying of sepsis, according to the vet that was brought in. But it was lack of care.
But even, just stop for a second, because the way you're saying RCMP drones, because you're used to it now, you've been observing it for a month, but how insane is it that the police have their largest operation in BC, not taking on drug gangs, not taking on home invasions, the largest police operation in this province for the last 6 weeks has been here, and they are deploying drones. Drones are not a public health tool. They are a tool of espionage and surveillance and tracking and authoritarianism. The very fact we're saying an RCMP drone killed an ostrich is so insane. But even now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 RCMP. There was 5 on the way in. There's probably still 40 cops, 50 cops, and the massacre is over. What are they even still doing here?
Yeah, and I mean, the drone stuff is worse than that. They're using them as weapons of terror. They're chasing people around with them, and this
Two people
property-
told me they were chased by an RCMP drone.
Yes, so this property in behind, for those that don't know, is not part of Universal Ostrich Farm. It's a separately owned private property, owned by, I mean, the family's related, but owned by separate people. And it was seized for logistical and operational purposes. And the entire operation has been on this property, surrounding the people there, harassing them and threatening them as they try to enter their gate. And
I've seen some of that. Like,
we have video of this stuff, so we can provide that if it's helpful. And last night and during this as this cull and this heinous stuff was going on, they had a drone fly up and blast them with lights
in the middle of the night.
Yes. They follow them with lights. It's honestly, I've seen a lot of things from police that I have a little trouble with, but here has been beyond the pale.
You know, when the truckers were in Ottawa, they said that the military was not involved. We later found out that the Canadian Armed Forces did in fact supply drones to film the protest in Ottawa. One of the questions I tried to put to the police here was, are you using military equipment, including the drones? And obviously they wouldn't answer.
Yeah, I mean, regardless if they're military, right? Our military isn't allowed to act in this sort of role in Canada for a reason, so they can't be used against us. Mm-hmm. But if we have the RCMP, a paramilitary operation, with multiple drone pilots terrorizing people, I mean, what's the difference there?
Not just that, but we're at the police line here.
Well, careful if you touch that.
I'll hold on
I've
it.
been threatened with arrest for less.
Well, I'm gonna let's see if they come out. Maybe this is a way to get them to come and talk to us. I'm gonna hold it up like this, just in the hope that maybe one of them will come out. By the way, I'm looking at that tent there that says "Apply Now."
Yes.
Just in case they found any supporters here. But my real question is, often when people come and stand here, a cop comes out with a little camera and videos the faces, and I'm sure they've taken pictures of all the license plates coming and going. And there are devices, I forget what they're called right now, where you can identify all the cell phones in an area just by some internal device that's on every phone, PCMIA or something, I forget what it is. I am absolutely sure that the police have built a database of everyone here. This is supposed to be an agricultural operation, but it's turned into an authoritarian regime database, facial recognition. Like, it's so weird what's going on, and that doesn't sound like it's got anything to do with ostriches.
No, and I mean, at whose behest is this happening?
That was, who's the boss of this?
Yeah, the CFIA, as far as I know, are unelected bureaucrats. A lot of what they do, well, I mean, all they do is kill, it seems. It's a scorched earth kind of policy. They're not protecting anything. They're killing everything. But whose bidding are they doing? It seems to be maybe foreign interests. There's all kinds of things that maybe are involved. And I think that's probably not isolated to this one bureaucracy. I think this is probably, it probably happens in all our bureaucracies.
Now, I want to ask you about one last thing. We talked a little bit about it before. I mentioned this in another video. There's a term I only learned in the last couple of years. We'll just let these dogs go by. I mean, it really is a great farm, isn't it? It's a working farm.
It is a farm, and it was normally a working farm and full of love, and
I love all the dogs here.
The CFIA doesn't come out.
Oh my God, you're right. One, don't kid.
It was a real yes. I mean, I kid, but that was a serious concern, and a lot of people reached out, and that would also be another way to enrage and infuriate someone.
Oh yeah.
I know if someone went after my dog, I would do anything to save it.
And I was talking to Katie, the farmer. These animals, these ostriches have been here 30, 35 years. You get to know individual animals. They had names for these animals.
Every single one has a name. Even the short time I was here, I wasn't able to get as close to them, but they have obvious personalities. And Allie, that you were talking to earlier, lives in here. I mean, she has pictures of her as a baby with baby ostriches that were, I mean, until 2 days ago, were alive.
Let me talk about what the police have been doing to you.
Yeah.
You have had great success with that high zoom camera. You've shown things, and I'm grateful to you, and those have gone super viral.
Sure.
Those videos were precisely what the cops and the CFIA were trying to avoid by making these giant walls out of haystacks. There's no public health reason to make giant walls out of haystacks other than to hide what they're doing. But what's done in the dark is brought to the light, and that's what you did. There's the RCMP here, just sitting around getting overtime and per diems and all that. But then there's something called PLTs, Police Liaison Teams, designed to be sort of ambassadors, keep the energy low, be a liaison. And for most of the time, they were doing that. But it's in the last few days, you have video of them being the opposite of liaison, the opposite of diplomatic. They were trying to enrage people, provoke people, humiliate people, in my view, to provoke them into pushing or shoving so that they could make an arrest and flip the script here. What do you say to that, Chris?
I think you hit it bang on.
Yeah, can we watch a video of yours?
Yes.
Here, let's throw to a video, and then I'd love you to come back and comment on it. Here, take a quick look.
Laughing. We just had came down here from my very first time down here before all those gunshots last night. You heard the murders, the torture. You heard torture all night, torture. And we have a cop in our cars looking at us, laughing and smiling.
All morning long.
That's
I got
how
pictures of it too.
No, it's not. We just lost
She's pulling up her phone, looking at her social media, pointing.
My mom. You guys have no idea.
I have no idea. You're absolutely right.
And that's not okay. That's getting people upset. That's getting people upset. She was on Facebook. How did you know she was on Facebook?
Well, I don't know, but she was going like this, and she's looking and laughing and pointing, and and the guy next to her who didn't want anything to do with it, he's just like,
I don't know.
he knows we're watching.
I don't know what's with these women and if they have something to prove, but this is the shittiest crew we've ever had here for the biggest cool moment of our family's life. I want a few of these people gone.
Of any day to be here,
I
guys,
want them
BLT
gone.
should be kind of right here today.
Ben should have
this
been
is where
here.
the liaison needs to be in a day like today.
We shouldn't be surrounded by a whole bunch of RCMP that don't have any empathy or compassion for the moment of what we were going to go through.
Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm trying to listen to this. I'll talk to you after.
Well, he's...
I know who that is, and I'm listening to this, and I'm filming it.
Okay.
I'll talk to you
can
after.
film it, but I
Okay,
just
stop
think
talking over my mic,
I
please.
think You just need to step back. And
I am well back from your line.
Okay, well,
I am not crossing your line.
I'd like to cross the line.
You
so-
go ahead and cross whatever line you want. I won't do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. That's
Can you
good.
please stop following me?
Well, we're just wondering what's going on here.
Get away from me.
That is not normal. That is designed to nudge you, push your buttons. You kept calm. I would not have.
It was not easy, and I think the only reason I was able to keep calm is because I've been having police do this to me for a number of years now. It's like I said, I was kind of born out of the convoy, and I've learned a lot along the way. It was, reps help, but I knew immediately that she was trying to, like, that when you continuously poke after someone talks, and like you say, the liaison is here to liaise, not to provoke. And the timing, there's been a number of officers that have been clearly trying to provoke me. I have lots of video of this, and we'll get to that eventually. They were doing the same thing to Trevor in this property.
Right, and Trevor's the guy in the neighboring property.
I believe they figured that by coming after me or him, we were the most likely to be able to provoke. They went after his stepdaughter. They terrorized her with drones. Before he got here, they'd been doing this to her for 2 weeks. And that's when I really turned my eye towards the RCMP. I didn't come in here looking to argue or fight with the RCMP, but they forced my hand.
And that, to me, sounds like the script that Justin Trudeau and the RCMP used in Coutts, Alberta. The government, the Liberal government, was losing face every day under the convoy. They needed something, anything, to flip it over to DARVO, deny, accuse, reverse victim and offender. They were trying to make the victims, the bad guys, they were trying so hard to get Trevor or you to do something so the news could be violent arrest at the ostrich farm.
And now instead, we've exposed them. We pissed them off by exposing them initially. We embarrassed them. We embarrassed them all. And the RCMP don't like being embarrassed while working for these bureaucrats. And then from there, like, it was pushed to the limit, right? They waited right to the very end. They tried everything they could. They came in here, actually, in fact, the gunshots kind of went off. And then, like, a massive shift change came in right after. So as everyone's heated in this area, this entire street here lined with RCMP coming out. And they come in heavy and they line up in columns and, basically everything they could till the very last minute to try to force that provocation so they could then say, well, look, they were violent. But it didn't happen. Just like in the convoy, there was no violence. Here, there's been zero violence.
Well, I have some political opinions about the RCMP, and the number one being that Alberta and other provinces should conclude their agreements. As you know, the RCMP is a federal police force, but it also fills in for the provinces in the rural parts in Alberta, BC, and other places. I think Alberta should say goodbye to the RCMP, stop having it run out of Ottawa, and I can't speak for British Columbia, but I don't think that these cops here were pursuing the public interest in British Columbia. I think they were pursuing an Ottawa interest, and I think that they've frankly disgraced the force. And I say that as someone who, for the first 80% of my life, was a 10 out of 10 supporter of the police.
I think it's important to know, too, that I am not anti-police. I've always been really generally a supporter of law enforcement. I have friends still in police. I've had many friends serving in police. I'm not anti-police, but what's going on in policing now is not what I'm used to. And I think it should also be noted that there's officers here that I'm sure signed up for a good reason and a noble cause. And I've seen them being mortally injured in real time.
Well, there was a police chaplain here, and you normally bring in
footage of him. Yeah, and exactly. He came in more than once. And the fact that he was here at all is indicative that these people needed moral support. They were suffering operational injuries. And last night in particular, the video is haunting almost. I could see it. And I have compassion for those officers. But I don't, what do I do in that situation, right?
Well, Chris, I love citizen journalism. Rebel's been doing it in our own style. It was wonderful to see your style. I want to compliment you again on the technology you brought. And how can people follow your work?
Yeah, so basically all my work goes up onto X, at Chris Dacey. On X, you'll find everything there.
That's Dacey.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
All right, well, what a guy. I tell you, I mean, Drea Humphrey's been working this story since the beginning, and we've had actually 6 different rebels circulate through here, but I want to give a real shout out to Chris Dacey. If you're not following him on Twitter, you should. Great coverage from street level where the action happens. Thanks, everybody.